Good morning, my name is Damelza and I am presenting to you today on behalf of UK vegan bikers. This is not the bike I'm going to be talking about actually. This is my husband's KTM 890 and I've just nabbed off with it so that I can ride these gorgeous roads. Let me just do a little spinny round. Here I am in Bedfordshire. Look at these fields, wait for it. Oh my god. Full bloom, absolutely gorgeous. And just down here you won't be able to see them, but there are tons and tons of little bunnies, and the longer I stay here the closer and closer they get. They're absolutely gorgeous. The bike I'm going to be briefly discussing today is actually a Trident 660 which I took out last week. So I'm just going to briefly talk about the first impressions and what it was up against and what I'm going to do going forward. Okay, let's go and get comfortable in my office. It's not a bad office, is it? Here we are, sitting in a field. I was sat against the gate, but it looked like I was in prison, so I've moved. So now I'm sat in the field. There are aeroplanes, there's a selfie stick, we're using an iPhone, we've got sun going on. I am by no means a professional vlogger. So bear with me. I'm just going to give you my first impressions of this Trident that I rode the other day. So before I went, there was two things that influenced my choice, and that was an old copy of Ride magazine, which interestingly and quite obviously had put it up against the MT-07 and the CB 650R. And I'd watched a couple of vlogs as well. I watched Username Kate and 44 Teeth, both quite different, but just to get an idea of what I was going into. Ride magazine, although I wasn't interested in the bikes that they'd compared it to, do have quite a nice sort of comprehensive doodah going on here. Anyway, it's all kind of old news now, isn't it? But it's all in there if you need it. I'm not going to start reading it out. So they did describe it as buzzy and lively, which gives it character. So I thought, right, well, that can be a good thing or a bad thing, let's see. Not as relaxing or laid back due to the low gearing. Okay, but you know, then you've got that instant poke, haven't you? It's a sporty ride. Okay, I'm open to that. I'll see what a sporty ride's like. As agile as a street triple. Cool. I have ridden a street triple, so I get that. Okay, that's fine. Quite firm on suspension, but not a choppy ride, they said. The shock could be better. Well, yeah, there's always things that could be better, but you know, at 7,200, just under, you're not going to start picking and poking around, are you? So Username Kate, she is only 5'4". Doesn't she look tall? She's only 5'4". Can't believe that. I'm 5'8". But both of us agreed that it was a nice, neutral, comfortable position. I didn't have any pressure on my wrists at all. I had no problems with my lower back or with the angle of my knees or anything, so that was something we both agreed on. Another thing that we both said was that straight away we would compare it to the SV 650. That's one of the first things I said as I rolled off. So this reminds me of the SV. So if you're into that kind of bike, then yeah, the Trident's a goer. One thing also that I was nodding away at as she said it was that she felt at times like it was running out of puff. I'm unfamiliar these days with that kind of gearing, so I was questioning, am I doing this right? Am I not giving it enough? Should I be pushing these gears harder, higher up the revs? And I even said to Bruce a couple of times, I'm just going to drop back down into second and work my way up again, because I'm not sure I'm doing this right. I mean, I've come from a twin, like a high torque 900 twin, so I just assumed it was me. But I was like, no, I think that's it. And at 80 brake horsepower, I was surprised. In direct comparison to my bike, which is a Triumph Street Scrambler, which only has 64 brake horsepower, the power is much more thrilling to use, and I just did have that feeling of like, oh, that's it then, okay. What I will say about the Trident is that there is absolutely no period of adaptation. You just get on it and you just go, and you feel like it's been your bike for ages. I mean, you don't have to worry about controls or anything, they're just that simple. Triumphs are always easy to navigate around, and the screen and everything was just spot on. There was nothing there that was distracting, it was just what you needed. I did use both modes. It was a very seasonal day. We had hail, we had rain, we had sunshine, we had dry roads, we had wet roads. So I did use road and rain, and I did kind of like push it a little bit on the bends. I did brake at inappropriate times just to see how it would like respond, and it was absolutely fine. There wasn't one moment when I thought, oh, I shouldn't have done that. It was absolutely fine. It was really, really capable. Just dead easy on bends, really light, really nimble. All the people that I spoke to about the Trident, that are owners that have one, everything they said rang true. Interestingly, a lot of people I've spoken to that have Tridents have it as a first bike or as a second bike. So one lady I spoke to, she has a Ducati and she has the Trident as her second bike. Another guy I spoke to has a Street Scrambler like me, and he has the Trident as a second bike. Interestingly, in the comments section on Kate's video, a guy called Stuart was just about to collect his. This was March last year. He's had over 25 bikes and was happy with the power and the spread of torque. He'd just come off a very heavy Bonneville 1200, which he said felt like a tank in comparison to the Trident, and it was only 1 brake horsepower less, so he was well chuffed. I wonder a year later if he still has it, and if he's still riding it, and if he still loves it. I'll have to investigate, find out. I did say it would make a brilliant first bike. If I'd have had that as my first bike, I would probably have been a better rider for it. My first bike was a Tiger 800 2012 roadie, so she was a bit of a big Bertha for a first bike. But I just really liked it, and it was so cheap and lovely and clean, and it was that venom yellow colour, so I was just like having it. I was like but it was a big one. If I'd have had the Trident, I'd probably been a lot more confident on bends and things, and I don't know, who knows, maybe not. But yeah, it's a great little bike, but I am going to be very lightly sticking with what I've got, which is the Street Scrambler 900 high torque engine, 64 brake horsepower. But as much as I enjoyed the ride on the Trident, when I got back on the Scrambler and started it up, I did like a funny noise. You know, that happy noise that you do? I was like, ooh, I love this bike. And I was just saying, you see, when you get on your bike and start it up, and it's one of those as well that I always look back at. So, you know, I've had a look around, but there isn't really anything I like more than what I've got, so I'll probably stick. But yeah, Trident, cool bike, just not for me right now.